So I get asked all the time about wind turbine design and how to go around building a wind turbine, and usually people come to me and say, I've got this motor, what should I do with it? How am I going to make that into a wind turbine? And unfortunately, I actually think that's the wrong place to start, because remember, the motor is a way of converting the energy into electrical energy. It doesn't actually contribute that much itself, depending on the efficiency of the motor, but it's not a great contributor. To my mind, the place to start is the wind speed in your area. The wind speed in your area is going to give you a lot of information about what you can potentially build, and then you can work out what motor is going to be good from that. But the place really to look at is wind speed, and it's easy enough to find. It's just available on the net. And as you can see, I've entered average wind speed Bishopston and Kent, because that's where I live. I mean, if we look at that, we can see here that the windiest month is January, when the maximum wind speed, the average maximum wind speed is 33 kilometres per hour, and the average wind speed is 24 kilometres an hour. 33 kilometres an hour is about 9 metres per second, and 24 is about 6.7 metres per second. June, you can see it drops to 30 and 20 respectively. 20 kilometres per hour is 5.5 metres per second. That's not a lot of wind speed. I mean, sure enough, we get some winds like Storm Eunice that are 70, 80 miles an hour, but they're pretty rare events. Once every now and then. The last time was last year, and before that was 10 years ago, so we don't get that much wind here in the UK. So knowing what power is available to me is going to give me a point at which I can start making some decisions. Now, I have a favourite calculator. I have a favourite calculator because it's easy to use. I mean, an awful lot of this stuff is basically rule of thumb and ways of looking at it and thinking about it so that we can make some sense of it. But like I said, the place to start is the wind speed in your area. Once you've got that wind speed, you can make some decisions about it. So let's say I want mine to operate at the average maximum wind speed. That's going to be 33 kilometres an hour, 9 metres per second. Well, that means is for quite a lot of the time, it's just going to be standing still because the wind won't have enough power to turn it. But some of the time, it's going to be turning quite quickly and we'll get a decent amount out of it. You can make other decisions. You could make it so that it turns at the lowest average wind speed, in which case quite a lot of the time you're going to be putting a brake on it to stop it destroying itself. But somewhere or other you have to make a decision in that wind that you've got, what kind of a wind you're going to try and cope with. If you want hurricane force winds, you can build it, but it's only ever going to turn once every 10 years. So you need to make a decision based on the wind speed in your area, what it is you're going to do. When you've made that decision, you can turn to something like Omni Calculator. Omni Calculator, as I say, is a really cool piece of software available on the net. And here it is. It gives you two options, incidentally. You've got a vertical axis or a horizontal axis wind turbine. It'll do the calculations for both. And you'll find that there's two camps. And these two camps, I think, hate each other with venom because they're forever arguing about it. And as far as I can see, it's all a bit 6 and 2/3. A bladed wind turbine is as much use as a condom in a nunnery if you happen to live in a built-up area, whereas a VAWT is going to be a bit more useful and a bit more inconspicuous, and that's the one I like. I like it because I like it, even though I've heard both sides of the argument and think, oh, for God's sake, grow up. But if we choose our wind turbine type, for whatever reason, maybe you live on a hill and the wind only ever blows in one direction, or maybe you live in the middle of the city and you can put it on top of your flats, I don't know. But whatever you choose, then look for the one. And here we have HAWT, VAWT. Let's have a look at this HAWT, which is your standard wind turbine. I've put in my maximum wind speed right there, 9 metres per second, and I've given it a blade length of 1.7 metres, which means it'll produce, before losses, 1.15 kilowatts. That's a considerable amount of power, but of course it's only operating at the average maximum wind speed, but it's still considerable. However, that blade length is 1.7 metres, which means the turbine's going to be about 4 metres across. That's about the size of my living room. That's a huge turbine. In order to get that up there, of course, I have to stick it on a tower, and I live in Kent, and my chances of having planning permission on that are pretty slim. So I need to be a bit more realistic for the situation in which I live. If you don't live in the same situation, of course, you're going to make different decisions. So let's swap it to VAWT. because I quite like that. And the decision I've made is that it's going to be 1.5 metres in diameter and about 1 metre high. That's not bad, actually. That's something I could sit on my roof and it would spin around quietly at the 9 metres per second wind speed, and no, my neighbours are not going to complain, and I'm not going to have the planning people come and knocking on my door. So I'm going to produce round about 191 watts at that wind speed. That may not seem a lot, but it's not bad, and I haven't had to do anything with it, and it's something I'm capable of building and something I can install, so it's a reasonable thing for me in my situation. Now, your situation is going to change, but it's still going to give you some figure of diameter and height for either a VAWT or a HAWT that you want to build with the output that you want, given your wind circumstances. So you get a very good idea of the kind of machine that you're going to be able to build. Now, I like Omni Calculator because down at the bottom, there it is. It gives you the RPM and the torque available at the shaft, and I think that's just so useful. Because here you can see we're getting about 600-700 RPM at that wind speed with that design. Now, most motors that we're going to actually want to use have a rated RPM. So let's say we have 3000 RPM. So we want to turn our motor at 3000 RPM so that it gives out a decent amount of power. In order to get that at 3000 RPM, we've got roughly a 5:1 gear ratio. So I need a 5:1 gear on my wind turbine to turn that 600 RPM into 3000 RPM. And have a look at the torque. This is the torque available. Now remember, as the gear goes up, the torque goes down. So if we've got a 5:1 ratio here, the available torque is going to be 1/5 of that, so about 0.5 of a Newton meter. So if I select myself a motor which has a rated torque of 0.5 Newton meters, it will spin at 3000 RPM, and my wind turbine will be able to spin it, and that will give me an output, a decent output of whatever that motor is going to be able to produce. Now, it's round about what it took to actually make the rotor run. Remember, these are rules of thumb to give you guidance on the kind of things to be thinking about. So if we get a motor at 0.5 of a Newton meter on its torque, then we're in the range of what the motor that can be turned by that particular diameter and height of VAWT. So here's a good example of one that fits that bill. It's a DC motor, also meant to be a generator. Turns at 3,500 RPM. There's 0.5 of a Newton meter torque at the shaft as its rated torque. It uses about 12 volts, and it's about 130 watts, which is no surprise given that's what power is available in the wind anyway. It's about 40 quid to buy, and that would be the kind of thing that you'd be looking at, because instead of going from the motor up, we've gone from the available wind speed and power down to where we need to be. And I think that's something that people often do. They take a motor and they think, how am I going to make a wind turbine out of this? Whereas I think you should be looking at the other way around. I've got this wind speed, how big a turbine can I build, and what motor will that drive? And that's, in my case, not very much, but c'est la vie. 200 watts is better than a poke up the bum with a sharp daffodil, so I'm not going to sneer at it. Of course, if you want to start with the motor that you've got, then you're going to need to know the RPM, the rated torque, and you're going to have to build a machine that can supply that torque to turn that motor at that RPM. So if you build a machine that has 500 or 600 RPM, you're going to need the gearing to gear it to the motor speed, which is going to be about 3000 RPM. And then you'll get a torque requirement, and of course that torque requirement is then going to specify the size of your blades or your drum that you're going to make. But I need to match everything down the line. Of course, now I know I'm going to be producing about 200 watts or so. So the support electronics I need are not going to be in the quick kilowatt range. I'm not going to need that kind of stuff. So I'm able now to price up things like inverters and the charge controllers and work out what it is I need to get to support that kind of generation. And I think that's the way to approach problems like this. It's not to grab your motor and think, okay, how am I going to make that into a wind turbine? Look at its output. Man, I'm going to need some electronics. I don't think that's the right way to go around it. So I thought I would say this stuff, and hopefully it's of help to people who are thinking about their own wind turbines and thinking about their own generation, because although in my situation I'm not going to get a lot of power because of the wind restrictions and the planning permission restrictions we have here in Kent. That's not true for everybody. But I still think the same process actually works, in that the place to start is not at your motor. The place to start is what is your available power. How big a machine are you going to build, and then what can that machine do in order to turn that motor as a generator. Anyway, I hope it was helpful. As I said, we're just really rules of thumb. It does get much more complicated, but certainly I think that helps as a guide when thinking about these things. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching, and please remember to like and subscribe.